So I audited 10 different remodelers and their Meta or Google ads. Now keep in mind these will be brands doing somewhere between 2 to $15 million a year. At least pretty much all of them were doing around that much. Now two of them didn't have any sort of real strategy. Their ads were just on. They're kind of burning money, it's just like having somebody who said, "Oh yeah, we have ads on." Right? The others did spend money. They were leaking it at one or more stages. Even the best one that I did find, the one that was actually doing it pretty well, still had at least one or two gaps that should be costing them a good fraction of the revenue they're bringing in. For context, by the way, this is the Meta Ads library. Like you can check any company's ads over here. It is pretty valuable, and that's where I checked in the ads of these firms, all of them, and where they're linking it to their funnel. Now, please keep in mind though, right? Like, who do you actually want walking through your door? Like, if you're doing both kitchen and bathroom remodeling, you're basically having projects anywhere from 10 to maybe 30K for the bathrooms, probably higher in some cases, and 40 to maybe even 150K, depending on the size of the kitchens. You know, there's the different factors involved. Now, who do you actually want walking through your door? Like a homeowner who's sitting on a 50 to $150,000 project. They're gonna be thinking about this for months. They're researching, they're comparing, they're nervous about trusting someone with the most expensive room in their house. They're going to be careful when it comes to trusting people with something this important that they value so much, that their partner or their family values so much, right? Like that person is not going to be responding to a $2,000 off ad with a stock photo. That person does not fill out a three-field lead form. They're going to need to trust you before they actually even pick up the phone. And almost none of the ads that I'll show you are built for that person. Uh, Not to mention, like they need to see you in so many different touch points before they start to feel like, oh yeah, I trust this person, this team, I trust this brand. And that is what I wanna make sure that we all understand through this. So first of all, right, when it comes to the ghost ads, that's the first tier. These are brands that do great work, as you can see, right? Like pretty good work. They have a few decades of experience. The issue comes that the ads that they're running are literally just this. Like there was just this one ad, it's a contact us button, and it gets linked to their website. It's a good website. That is not even the issue. But when the issue is that when we're running ads, we need to have a clear objective. First of all, these aren't enough ads for somebody to trust you. Neither is the quality really there, because you want to have somebody speaking, for example. That builds a lot of trust, and you want to have a big variation of ads. The other thing is if you have a contact us button and you're linking them over here, you are going to be severely overpaying for any sort of leads that you're getting in. Not to mention, these ads are probably with a traffic objective, which means that you're going to be running your ads to the bottom tier of people on Facebook, right? It's going to be a very big mix of viewers. It's not going to be the high quality ICP that we're actually trying to advertise to, right? It's not going to be these guys. It's not going to be a couple like this. It's not going to be people who want to actually get in, who actually want to invest 50 to 150K into their next remodeling project. When it comes to the website too, it can be good looking, it can be pretty, it can have everything that you need. The issue is that when you have more than one button and you have complexity in the opt-in area, that causes issues, and that severely impacts the cost per every inquiry. That is why these ads just would essentially end up bringing in leads that are at least a few times more expensive, all the way up to maybe even 30 or 50 times more expensive, if they're even getting in any leads from you. When it comes to this other company, they had a similar situation. They just had these two ads on, which is basically the same thing, just all of their services together in just one image. And this is a 76-year-old company. Impressive legacy, fantastic procedure, fantastic projects, and they provide a ton of services. The issue is, again, like with an ad like this, it's just vague. Like if you're showing this to somebody, and let's just say we're talking about this couple, right? Let's get very specific with what their problems are. We'll just think about kitchens for today. This couple wants to get in a really good kitchen. It's their dream kitchen. They've been working for decades. They've saved up. They've invested money. They finally want to invest in a kitchen of their dreams. They will not look at this regardless of your experience. They'll not look at this and be like, oh, yeah, this company is the one that'll bring me my dream kitchen. A few different reasons. Let's hit the obvious one. There's no visual impact. There's no proof on the fact that you provide that type of service. Beyond that, the actual ad itself is not interesting enough for people to be like, oh, yeah, this is the type of kitchen I want. Then let's just say you run it to a website. Again, great website. Looks nice. You have your services. The issue is that this has a big mismatch. Like think about the ad, right? Even if you're interested in kitchens, you look at this, you're like, oh, they do kitchens. They have a good legacy. Let's click on it. You come here and read this. It's boost your home's energy, efficiency, and curb appeal with new windows and doors. That is the issue, that we're not specific, right? With a website, when you have so many different services and somebody comes and clicks on it, they are bombarded with knowledge and options. That is an issue that causes them to be inactive. It doesn't let them inquire easily. Plus, if there's a mismatch between their intention, the ad, and your actual main services that you're trying to advertise, that again causes an issue, right? Like if that couple was trying to get kitchens, they would just click back. They'd be like, oh yeah, these guys do more of windows and doors. That's how much of an impact that it has, and this is why even these ads are essentially just ghost ads. They're just there for the sake of it. Uh, by the way, yeah, this is for Meta. Let's go over the bad ads. Now, these people are trying to advertise. They want to bring in inquiries. That's why they have a pretty strong offer, right? $2,000 off, 25% off. The issue again with the text, the offer, even the quality of ad here uh, is multifaceted, right? Overall, you're just not going to get in your dream type of customer unless you're trying to apply to or appeal to the bottom tier rung of potential customers, right? Like, think about it. Do you think this couple who's willing to spend $75,000 is going to be like, oh, yeah, I get $2,000 off? What a fantastic deal. That's the type of brand I want to work with. Like, does it really appeal? Like, what is the order of magnitude that that amount has when they're willing to spend that much on a kitchen? And so having offers like this just are a big mismatch, right? Like whatever your offer is, whatever you're trying to appeal to people with your particular advert, like whatever you're using dictates who is actually going to be interested in it. Your marketing message makes a humongous difference. Not to mention over here, the actual ad itself, as you can see, the framing is not done well. It is not optimized for ads. Like generally, you want to have it 1:1 or 4:5. This is just not clear, or you want to have it in uh, a story aspect ratio so that people can actually look at your work clearly. Just the overall ad here was not edited well. The quality was lower. There weren't proper before afters. There was even a voiceover in the beginning, but there were no subtitles. And just overall, the ad is not interesting. People click off much quicker. They don't understand what you're trying to show them. They don't actually see your work clearly. Overall, like they're just not going to trust you on the way that you want them to. And then even when we come to the form that they're linked to, it's just something like this. Like again, no hate, right? Even over here and overall, I hope you guys don't get offended by this if your brand is involved here. That's why I try to even, like just like keep the names blocked. The whole idea here is just to show you at least my perspective and outsider's perspective when it comes to how you should keep your marketing structure, your marketing funnel, your inquiry acquisition, right? And I hope that you use this as as positive feedback, because again, pretty much all of these brands are really great. I just feel like it was honestly it felt like such a tragedy to see such great brands get ruined by just really bad marketing. uh, just by the lack of effort in a lot of this, right? Like this type of form also, again, the idea of it is not bad, right? Like you want to have a complimentary quote, right? Perhaps that's enticing, but I don't think that is. Because if everybody and their cousin is running at minimum something like this, why would people pick you again? They click here, it's just not as enticing of a reason for somebody to come and inquire with you. Not to mention, like having a website again always is an issue whenever you're running ads to bring in leads. Even the rest of this was just reviews again, which is good, but the actual presentation does matter. Like you want to have not just pretty websites, you don't want just something that's conversion optimized, but you want to have both. You want to have something that actually represents your brand well, but is focused on bringing in quality inquiries at a good price. And that pretty much leads us into the next bit, right? Like we have mediocre ads. Now this is a good brand, good work, big team. The issue here, and the reason why I call it mediocre, is because of something like this, where we basically have generic images, stock images that just don't stand out. It doesn't provide a great feeling. Again, now their objective might be to get in people who want $250 off per window, right? Like that type of customer. But these are just not ads that would bring in your ideal type of customer. And that's why I tied into that first ICP, right? Like, what is your goal here to? If it is to bring in those types of customers, these types of ads will not work, at least as well as other types will, which I'll point out in a little while. Another issue here is this, like get quote is, it's basically a button used when you're trying to bring in lead from ads on Facebook. They're just lower quality. They're from a small form on Facebook itself. They just bring in not as great leads. They're better if you're just trying to test out ads, see if there's a response from the market, see if see if the leads are actually coming in, if people have interest, but their quality is going to be at the bottom tier. Same again, messaging ads also just don't work, especially when you have higher ticket services. They're just not the best. Now they did have one or two links that actually went to their website, and again, great website. I like how this looks, right? It's great that it's conversion optimized. You want people to actually inquire. Just a few different things. First of all, website is the issue, especially when you're trying to bring in quality inquiries. Beyond that, when you're trying to bring in a lead, the best quality I've seen is always through a survey, not a form, just because we want to ask in more questions. Now, this is for Windows. Perhaps it works, pretty well for them, especially because they're just looking for quantity and not necessarily quality of projects. Perhaps this works fantastic. Then again, I feel it would work a lot better if we didn't have a website. We had a dedicated standalone landing page. That makes a big difference. This again, I want to relate to this next company, which is also a bit similar. Fantastic brand, great experience. They did make two or three good ads like this where they focused on the timeless craft, the quality of their work. But there were small, simple issues that make a big difference, like not having captions. Another bigger issue, in fact, is about the quantity of ads. There are only about three or four. And if you're trying to spend 50, 100, $200 a day, that is way too less, right? Like, especially if you're trying to bring in 50 to 100K worth of projects through your ads, if you're not spending at least 5% of that, you're basically going to be getting just a much lower return than you like. Perhaps no return at all, because these projects are just that big. That's why you need to spend higher. And if you're spending higher, you're going to have good quality ads with a good quantity. Uh, but again, yeah, lead forms are not the way to go about it. They just get you the worst quality leads. Now, this one had actually did link to their website, which again is an issue because we have so many options for people to see. Like, think about it, this is a 110-year-old brand, fantastic legacy, right? Even the homepage over here looks good, right? Like they tried to make a landing page. The issues were such standalone that becomes a problem. Not to mention on the phone itself, the form is below the fold, essentially below the first screen. That also causes a difference. Like these small bits add up quite a bit. And again, the form and survey, just in general, always having a survey is better. It's easier for people to click, but they actually answer more questions, so you get a better quality inquiry. Uh, I just felt like this could be done a lot better because it's a fantastic brand. Now let's go over the good ads because you might be wondering, well, Angad, you've been criticizing companies so much. What works really well? Just give me a second. We have a company here. Now, for context, these guys are a big franchise. They have dozens of locations. I don't want to say the exact amount because then you can identify them easily. I was just trying to keep this anonymous, educational, and stuff. Now, these ads were pretty good. First of all, we had a person speaking in some of them. That is fantastic, builds a lot of trust, helps people relate with the brand more because you get a bit more humanized, which is quite important. Not to mention, even when they had an offer, it was a good one. It was something along the lines of their summer showcase program, and that is why they have 6 discounted spots as long as people allow their kitchens to be featured on their website, right? Like we want to have an offer that's related to the brand that does not discount your brand value, but at the same time entices people. It is okay to have discounts, but you want to make sure that you actually have some finesse with it, like in this case. The videos themselves were more interesting. There was a strong hook at the beginning. There was good editing. Their work was displayed well. There were like even other variations, like this one ad where there was like an AI voiceover. Even that can work. We want to have this well edited media, which is like videos in this case, and also images, which is the issue over here. Like there were two gaps here that I could see mainly. First of all, there was just one or two videos per location, and some of them were repeated in other locations. Like these guys, again, as I said, have dozens of locations. So the creative quantity needs to be much higher per location and overall, not to mention the actual types of them too, like images, carousels, uh, and just different types of videos hitting different angles, which again is very important because of the new Andromeda update and just in general because of how people behave, right? Uh, that again relates to twofold, which I'll keep short. Andromeda, the new update by Meta, rewards a higher, diverse set of creatives. So, higher quantity and a diverse set of creatives. Not to mention, in general, especially with higher ticket services, you want to show people different angles. You need to appeal to them in different ways that are interesting so that they actually consume more content, they become closer to your brand, and you also deal with different objections that they have. So, those are basically the gaps that I saw. Again, the good ads, good landing page too, by the way. They kind of have it systemized across all their franchises, across all their locations, which is good. Then again, I would probably just suggest being clear on again the ads and in this too having reviews higher. Fantastic work. I would have just probably included reviews a bit high. I believe that would have helped when it comes to the returns. But again, this is good just with a couple of gaps that are probably costing them a good fraction of their revenue. Um, I hope this did make sense, Bahadur. If you guys have questions, let me know. This breakdown should have helped, right? Like, and if you're trying to make it good too, this is also not a, this is also a pretty decent, pretty good design where we focus on the craftsmanship, the work, getting the dream kitchen, its simple steps. We showcase the transformations that people say, oh yeah, visual proof that this company knows what it's doing, like we can trust them with our money, can trust them with even our time just to inquire. So this was the meta section. Uh, I'm gonna go over to Google. First of all, Very simple, geo targeting failures. You're wondering what that means, right? So, this is just me searching up for a remodeling kitchen in Los Angeles. Now, the interesting thing is, I searched this via a VPN that was based in Boston. And so I'm searching up for a remodeling kitchen in Los Angeles. And keep in mind, Google knows I'm from Boston, right? Like that's the goal of the VPN. The issue is this link ended up being from a company in Florida. So it was wrong on twofold, right? Like let's just say you're a company in Los Angeles. If somebody's searching up for Boston, that is not where you should be spending most of your marketing dollars on. Like your first goal, your campaigns, your initial dollar should always be spent to the highest possible, highest quality in terms of leads, right? The highest possible chances of actually getting any project, which is people in your area, not people hundreds or thousands of miles away. And that is why the location bit is very important. Not to mention, these guys are in Florida and they're responding to an ad in Los Angeles that somebody in Boston searched up. Do you see the issue over there? Again, a few other issues like we talked about before, a website having different options, right? I'm searching up remodeling kitchen, but these guys do custom cabinetry. Like that doesn't match. I would click back and you waste your dollars essentially. And that is linked to this, right? Search to landing page mismatch. That is a big problem. This is another brand that I saw. This actually, I was trying to search up kitchen remodeling in Boston. I was like, let's see what's going on. So I search it up and then this shows up. This is a 125-year-old company. Just think about that for a second. You see, with that type of brand, you might be focusing more on plumbing, heating, cooling, water filtration. But if I'm somebody who's trying to remodel my kitchen, I come here, I see your trusted contractor for 125 years. But this is it. Like this is what like shows up. The trust completely goes. Especially because this website actually just ended here. There was actually nothing below this. It was just like this is it. It was just a white page. And that's where the issue comes from. Like, why would I want to trust you with my kitchen remodeling? If you have so many different services that you're doing, you have absolutely no images, no media, and just a lack of trust overall. Now, when it comes to the next tier, right, the next pattern I want to share with you guys is this. So we have patterns that kill trust, basically, which is basically also linked into this. Again, I searched up kitchen remodeling. We're looking at it in Boston. This was another brand that showed up. This was an interesting GIF, by the way, an interesting animation. But the quality over here is not one that incites or builds trust. Think about it. I'm searching up kitchen remodeling, but this shows up design plus build your all in one home additional solution, home addition solution. Even this GIF was just basically an additional home being built. Do you see the mismatch over there when it comes to the actual brand and the trust that we're trying to build in? Like, if I come here immediately, it kills trust. And again, these three patterns are quite interlinked. If you have geo-targeting failures, it immediately causes a mismatch plus kills trust. If there's a search to landing page mismatch, that immediately kills trust. And in general, pages that kill trust are ones that are just not designed well, right? Like this, for example, again, they tried to make it pretty good. It wasn't terrible, but it was not conversion optimized. Like if you go through and see text like this, for example, where it, like again, this is a shadow effect, but it looks more like a wet ink. It doesn't incite trust, especially with emojis like this, where you have somebody, where you have the green tick emoji. Like the design like this just kills trust, and it does not attract our original ICP that we're aiming for, right? It does not attract somebody who's spending 50 to 150K. And in fact, if you're doing additions, it's going to cost at least that much. If you're looking for custom homes, it's going to be even higher. But a landing page like that, hello, hello, I accidentally I accidentally ended up muting my mic at that little bit when I was talking about this. So I just had to re-record this bit, right? So the bit that I'm talking about over here, when it comes to your ICP, why would somebody who's trying to spend a few hundred K or even a million, let's just say you're aiming for custom home projects, right? Even higher than that, trust something like that? And that's why your brand needs to be visualized well, right? Like the presentation needs to be well, not denying that. Yet at the same time, we want to make sure that we're conversion optimized. And that is where the issues stemmed from when it came to this. Uh, Again, I mean, good for them to try. It was a good animation, like a 3D render type thing, but it just was not the best when it came to trust. Um, let's see. Why does this keep happening? Now, if you have a Meta guy, a Google guy, an SEO guy, a lead vendor, and you have no shared plan, that is probably going to cause this. If you have agencies that are paid regardless of results, and they have absolutely no incentive to find leaks, there's no internal marketing leader to even hold anyone accountable. That causes an issue, right? It doesn't even matter whether you're dealing with one, three, five, 10 lead vendors, or you have a standalone marketing partner handling everything. If you're not going to have somebody holding them accountable, and you're not clear on the actual KPIs, the key performing indicators that you want to happen, that you want realized, it's not going to happen. Like if people don't have the incentive to get you the results that you want, they most likely will not do it. Uh, and and if you're an owner, you're too busy running jobs. You don't have things systemized. You don't have the team doing things properly. That'll probably cause these types of issues, right? You don't have anybody to audit marketing. If you have bad past experiences and you think, well, the safest decision is just buying leads, that's going to fragment decisions. Like you're going to get people who end up running ads like this. They run get quote ads, they run lead form ads. You get bad types of lead quality. They don't run the ads well if you're just paying them and you don't care about the actual end result. And if you don't actually have somebody who knows what they're doing, it causes problems like that. Don't get me wrong, too. You will find the occasional amazing lead vendor, right? Like there are people who get filled up with that. It's just most of them tend to be bad and just not, more than anything, just not aligned with your end goal. Even if the lead itself might not be of terrible quality, if they're not going to help, or if they're not going to ensure that speed to lead, for example, your follow up is done properly, like you're going to get what that person is incentivized to do and how they're structured. If they're a vendor, you're going to get a vendor. If they're an actual marketing whole partner, a whole marketing growth partner, if their aim is to bring in revenue, you're going to get somebody who's going to work to get in revenue. And even this, I want to link this for a second, sorry, to this, right? Pipeline congruency, like even small leaks at different stages can compound into a massive revenue loss. I walked over this before, but I hope what I showed you makes sense for that, right? Like if the ad is an issue, you lose money there, then you go to the landing page, you lose money there. Then after that, if you don't have proper systems in place, or there was a mismatch in terms of the type of people you're targeting and the type of people your team wants to actually talk to, that causes issues. If you don't have somebody handling follow-ups, that causes issues. And that is where issues like this keep happening. Now, what does good look like? When it comes to Meta, we want to have at least 15 to 20 plus creative variations tested every 2 weeks, every month at minimum, every week if you have that much of a spend, with ads being killed if they're dead, if they're not bringing a good return, and them being replaced accordingly. You want to have the owner or team on camera. You want to have faces. You want to build trust. You want to have before afters. You want to have testimonials. You want to have a diverse set of creatives. You want to keep with Google your keywords tight. Location is targeting locked. Your location targeting is locked. Your branded search also protected. I did go over this before. Multi seven figure company, another one service one, they got about a 300x ROI from their branded search. So somewhere around like 600K in revenue from about 2K in ad spend. Ridiculous, right? And they're only spending like 10 euros a day, which again, you can spend more to test it out. But even with a small spend like that, amazing, amazing spend. When it comes to retargeting, right? You want to actually stay visible through the 3 to 6 month decision window. It's definitely important. Want to show up multiple times in a favorable way to your brand and to your end goal in front of your ICPs. That is what marketing is about. And that is what acquisition is about. That is why this becomes scalable. That is why it becomes profitable. And that is why retargeting ends up being cheap ad spend. In the sense like you get good returns. We have landing pages. Survey style forms are best. Trust signals above the fold. Minimal navigation. Keep it clean. Keep it mobile optimized. The page itself should also be a filter so that your ICP inquires. Encourage ICP and discourage people who not them. You want to discourage people who want to bargain with you for $2,000 off when they're spending something for 1,000, for 100K, right? You want people who actually care about quality, who care about getting it right the first time. Attribution, one view across channels, have a clear view, eagle eye view of everything that's going on, know what's making money, and allocate capital. That is how we scale. That is how you get leverage. Weekly adjustments too, not monthly or bi-monthly check-ins. Like you have bad ads that are running for like 2 3 months, like you're not going to make marketing work. It'll just take you a lot longer than it should. And one person or team owns the whole funnel. That is when you have true incentive and true enablement of true enabling of that person or team to actually reach that end goal. I hope this made sense. uh, this was basically like a quick deep dive on what I thought is important, what good looks like, why this keeps happening, problems in general when it comes to marketing. uh, that's it. Just focus on making sure that we have a team or a person who will ensure that your end goal, which is more revenue profitably while maintaining brand value, is achieved. Hope it helped. Comment down below if you guys want me to cover any other topics. If and also text me on LinkedIn if you ever want to go over any of these funnels. In fact, even if you're one of the companies and we mentioned, always open to a conversation, could just definitely walk you through on what else you could go over if you're looking to improve results. In fact, even if I'm wrong and you're absolutely crushing it, whereas I called your ads bad, tell me. I really want to know. So reach out to me, LinkedIn, YouTube. Have a nice day.